What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel and the crazy world that is the home arcade community. You know, over the past few years, we've seen some companies come and go, but there are still a few providing quality products. And while that quality does vary from brand to brand, nobody's been able to match the quantity of Arcade1up. Now, that fact necessitates some sort of a ranked list, so today we're going to talk about my top 5 Arcade1ups as of October 2022. Okay, so before we get started, there are going to be some notable exceptions to this list. This is going to consist of cabinets that I actually own, cabinets that I've actually purchased. Obviously, if it wasn't good enough to make the arcade, it's definitely not going to make my top 5. Now, the two cabinets that I really want to address right now, before we start the list, is going to be Tron and Dragon's Lair. Now, Tron, even if I thought enough of the game to make the purchase and bring it into the arcade, I don't know that it would make my top 5 because of some of the issues that we've seen with that joystick. But the one that I'm really struggling with is Dragon's Lair, because while I'm not a big fan of the game Dragon's Lair, I think the cabinet itself is pretty much, I think it's exceptional. And I think that if I was a fan of the game, that being the only thing that's keeping it off the list, if I was a fan, it could actually be my number 1. So with all that being said, with all those caveats out of the way, let's get into the top 5. Coming in at number 5 is going to be Terminator 2. Now, if you saw my video last week, you're probably not shocked by that. I revealed in that video that this was going to be in my top 5, and it definitely is. It just barely made the cut. There's a few things to take note here. Yes, there's some quality issues with the guns. Yes, there are some slight emulation issues with the game, but if you're talking about a cabinet that I enjoy playing, the cabinet that I go to as one of my top 5 in my arcade, it is one of those cabinets. It's only one game. I did have to replace the marquee because it wasn't quite up to snuff. All that being considered, when weighed against every other cabinet that I have, it still is number 5. Coming in at number 4 is going to be Golden Tee 3D. Yeah, the XL cab, the one with the bad screen. That's my number 4. It beat out Terminator 2 and so many other cabinets. Why? Because it's just fun to play. I had a lot of fun with my 3/4 scale Golden Tee, but this big one has bowling on it, and bowling is definitely a quick, easy game. You can jump in, anybody can play, and it's not just me. Anybody else that comes around the arcade definitely stops by that and plays a few rounds because it's just easy and fun. And that's the key. It's fun. Also, that form factor was really awesome. It was a great departure. It was obviously the first XL cabinet. I'm really glad I picked it up. But the biggest issue you're going to say is that screen. Once I did the modification, I would say that that particular Arcade1up is damn near perfect. So maybe it would be higher on the list if I didn't have to replace that screen. But for right now, it's sitting solid at number 4. Now for the bronze medal, third place goes to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yeah, that third generation, that first cabinet that I got. Wow, it made the list, and it made it pretty high up on that list because it just is what it is. There's not a big game variety. There's no Wi-Fi. It didn't even have a lit marquee when I first bought it. But the price of $3.99 wasn't bad either. It's just one of those cabinets that I tend to gravitate towards. It's just one of those games that a lot of people like to play. And there's few 4-player beat-em-ups that get enough playtime, get that much playtime that TMNT does command. It's really fun. I don't know that there's too much else to say about that, except thank God it doesn't have the Turtles in Time artwork. Okay, the silver medal, second place is going to go to, and this is probably going to be a shocker to some of you, and it's probably going to spoil an upcoming review, but it's actually Marvel vs. Capcom 2. That's right, the cabinet that I've only had a couple days has actually blown me away. Now, as far as what does it need to get there, what does it need to be perfect, what are you going to have to replace right out of the box? Nothing. They got all the things right. They took all the things that they got right with the Mortal Kombat 30th and then continued that on and coupled that with the great screen. Basically, it's your Shinku Hadouken, but it's all those versus games. And those versus games are what I love. Am I great at those games? No, but I do enjoy them. And the only thing that probably keeps us out of that number 1 spot is that ridiculous inclusion of those 2 console games. Now, before we get to number 1, I do have a few honorable mentions, and the first one is going to be Ridge Racer. That rumble steering, the way that thing feels is really good, and the games play really smooth, really well. Online leaderboards is great. No online co-op play, but that's okay. I don't mind that. They did a lot with that cabinet. Being only the second racer out of the gate, they made a lot of improvements to that, and I think it's a great cabinet. It's really fun, and if you're going to have to pick between that or Outrun, it's definitely a win to go with Ridge Racer. The pedal feel, the pedal quality is definitely something that holds that back, and some of the game variety also holds that back. I would have liked to get like Dirt Dash or some kind of other four-wheel drive game. I think that would have really complemented that cabinet, but definitely honorable mention goes to Ridge Racer. Second honorable mention is going to go to Mortal Kombat 30th. Always so close. It's so far away. There were so many things that cabinet did right. First off, the cabinet shape, the cabinet style is continued on with the new stuff that everybody's just freaking out about, and that was a big step forward. The marquee, beautiful. The sound, great. The monitor just really held that back. Also, I'm not the biggest fan of Mortal Kombat. I'm also not very good at Mortal Kombat, but hey, it's got Rampage on it. So the honorable mention definitely goes to Mortal Kombat 30th. Good job. We'll see if you can make the top 5 next year. And my final honorable mention is going to go to NFL Blitz Legends. I know, right? It's a brand new cabinet. There's a lot of stuff going on there. I don't know exactly how I feel about it, but I will say it's getting a lot of playtime, and it's possible that maybe next year it could overtake Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for that number 3 spot. Okay, so it's gold medal time. The number 1 cabinet, my desert island item that I would take with me if I had to survive in the wilderness for any length of time. The only cab I would have in my collection if I could only have one in my collection. And that really should be no surprise. It's Star Wars. The cabinet that sits behind me during every live stream. So many things were gotten right with this cabinet. I know it is a 3rd generation cabinet, so it is missing some of those Wi-Fi things. Maybe not the best marquee that we've seen from them completely, especially some of this new stuff coming out. It's really, really good. Mortal Kombat 30th, it may not be that good, but for its time, it's excellent. And there's just really nothing bad I can say about the cabinet. Everything that was available to them at the time, everything that it tried to do, the cabinet does well. So anyway, that's my top 5. Let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below. Let me know if one of your cabinets made it in the top 5. If you want to tell me how wrong I am for picking these 5 cabinets, well, it's okay. Just keep it civil, but have a lot of fun. Anyway, thank you so much for stopping by and checking out the channel. Y'all have a blessed day, and I will see you next time.